What's up, guys? We're riding the new Transition Smuggler. This bike's been out for a while, and I'll be honest, I've been hesitant to spend any time on it because when I looked at the geometry, it has this super slack or steep 78.5-degree seat tube angle on a size medium. It kind of, depending between small, medium, large, extra large, you're in between 77.5 and 78.5-degree seat tube angle. And on paper, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But out on the trail and just even riding around in the neighborhood, like getting the suspension set up and everything, I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And the bike looks super rad. So come on this ride with me today. I picked up this bike from Salt Cycles in Sandy, Utah, and I've had a blast riding this thing. It's November, it's almost Thanksgiving, and so the trails have been a little cold, a little icy, but I've had a great time riding this thing for the last week. Today's video is sponsored by Nolly Eyewear. We got snow a little over a week ago, and it's probably gonna be here for the rest of the year. Man, I'll tell you though, the Smuggler, 130 millimeters of travel in the rear, that giddy up suspension that Transition uses, it's a horse link, but it is really open feeling, like just really very active, open. You don't feel like it's getting hung up at all. It's really cool. The bike kind of feels like it's always getting kind of pushed forward, like almost like it gathers speed with every little bump in the trail, which is the opposite of what's actually happening, right? But you never feel this weird, unbalanced feeling in the back. Really cool, really damp feeling. This trail, to give you an idea of this trail, it's got lots of kind of 8-inch to 1.5 foot ledgy, kind of rocky, rooty sections. Doesn't always come through on the GoPro super well, but it's also very high speed. Even with these kind of cold weather conditions, a little bit of snow on the trail will still get close to 30 miles an hour. Wow. Yeah, I mean, the rear end is so balanced. It just keeps you never get like that like this feeling where you're getting your body knocked forward because the bike gets hung up. It just skips along the top of everything. Feels very open, very active. Man, that's great. Yeah. Man, feels light on its feet too. Whoa. A little frozen dirt there. Wow, yeah, fun. That's awesome. Man, that's so much fun. I mean, when you first look at the Smuggler on paper, you're kind of mesmerized by that 78.5-degree seat tube angle on the size medium. You just you see it on the paper or the geometry chart, and you're just like, man, is this bike gonna be wonky feeling? But no, I mean, that rear end is so balanced, so active. It's really smooth. That's fun. It's not smooth like an Ibis Ritmo. I mean, that thing's like buttery smooth. This is just like a lot of control. Doesn't feel like it's getting hung up. Today's video is sponsored by Nolly Eyewear. Man, I just stumbled into these guys out of nowhere. They go to all the local bike races and sell these Nolly eyeglasses. My wife's been wearing them for over a year. My daughter wears them. They came out with a lens that transitions. It's photochromic, so it transitions from dark to light. And I just lost another pair of my freaking $240 Smith glasses. Drives me crazy. These are a third the price. I think they're like 80 or 90 bucks. They fit perfectly. They transition from dark to light. Step one for me was to make sure it fits in my helmet because I like to get my glasses off my face when I'm climbing so I don't get sweat on them or anything. I've loved them. I think they're only like 80 or 90 bucks, and right now they're offering 25% off and free shipping in the United States for people who use the promotional code YUMYUM at checkout. Go give them a look. It's a local group of college kids that graduated and started this company. All the high school kids are racing on these things. My wife's been wearing them for a year. I've now been wearing them. Heck, I think they look good too, man. You know, and also when you first look at the Smuggler, the geometry, and it's a 130 in the back, 140 up front, you think, oh, it might be just a little bit more capable than like a Yeti SB120 or the Pivot Trail 429. It's not going to be quite to the category of the Yeti SB140 or the Ibis Ritmo or the Pivot Switchblade. But honestly, it sits closer, on the downhill performance, it sits closer to the Ritmo and the SB140 for sure. I mean, it just boogies on the downhill. Let's show you these lower speed, kind of more flow trails down here. So as you can see from today's video, this bike is a do-it-all everyman's bike. It's kind of a compromise in some ways. You know, it's 130 mil travel rear suspension, horse link suspension, the Transition giddy up suspension. But you know, that 130 travel, it feels more damp, more controlled than I was kind of expecting. I thought it might ride more like how the new Ibis Ripley rides, or even like maybe kind of how the Yeti SB120 or the Pivot Trail 429 rides. I feel like it has more chops than that. It can handle higher speeds and chunkier terrain better. The fork up front's 140 millimeters of travel with a 65-degree head tube angle. This is a size medium. It has a 460 reach. It doesn't feel like 460 reach though. Remember, they measure from here to here, but that seat tube angle is much steeper than, you know, older generation bikes. So if you're used to a shorter, like on a medium, like a 445 or a 450 reach, the 460 does not feel unreasonable because that saddle is a little farther forward because of the steep seat tube angle. Hope that makes sense. Geometry felt perfect on a size medium for me. I'm 5'8". So the bike, it feels like it could hang more with the Yeti SB140 and the Pivot Switchblade even. You know, it has a pike up front instead of a Fox 36 or a Lyric, but I don't know. The last week of riding this thing, something about this RockShox suspension, it felt so plush and like soft off the top, but then supportive through the rest of the travel. It kind of makes me wonder if I should be riding RockShox more often because it is so smooth. I've been trying to figure out, is it the bike or is it the RockShox? Because I spend, you know, most bikes I ride have Fox suspension on it. It's been incredible. The bike is so balanced. That's probably the thing that came to my mind the very most. It has a lot of traction in the corners, and the front end just feels like it hooks up really well, but the bike feels balanced. That's probably the thing I liked very most about it. And it's kind of funny, when I was setting this bike up in the front yard a couple weeks ago, just getting the suspension set up and the seat height right and all that stuff right when I first got the bike, I told my wife, like, it's so weird, but like, I feel like I'm gonna really like this bike just from riding around the front yard with the kids and stuff and getting the bike set up, which is kind of a weird thought because I don't normally feel that way until I get out on the trail for a couple days. But just from the get-go, I just gelled with this bike. I don't know why, and I have not been jonesing to get on this bike. Chris at Salt Cycles has asked me numerous times to do a review on this, and I'm like, it's kind of stuck in between, like, you know, a Pivot Trail 429 and a Pivot Switchblade, or an SB120 and SB140. It's kind of in the middle, and that's what makes the bike so good. A couple other things I thought about when I was out on the trail riding is this is a bike that just gives me a ton of confidence. I felt like when I was riding, I just felt like safe, and I could really do no wrong on it. And look, we live in a day and age, it's 2024, you know, everyone's making bikes pretty dang good. Like all the bikes I ride all year, all these different bikes are really good. There's little nuanced differences about each one. I personally have just like never identified with the brand Transition. I think they're cool looking bikes. I like these really straight lines. It looks really cool, but I don't know, I just never meshed with it. I also rode the Sentinel a couple years ago and I was like, I wouldn't buy a Sentinel over a Yeti SB 130 at that time, or the Ibis Ritmo or a Pivot Switchblade at the time. But this bike, I think a lot of people could get along with this bike. And the older I get, I'm really not hitting, I'm now 42 years old, I'm not hitting speeds and terrain as often. That's really rugged and high speed. I'm not doing that type of trail as often as I used to. So I think about the viewer of this channel, the viewer of this video, this is a bike that might really resonate with a lot of the viewers of this channel because it can still kind of do the work that a Santa Cruz Hightower or Yeti SB 140 or Ibis Ritmo does, but it's a little bit lighter. This is a pretty lightweight bike actually. And it's a little bit more fun at more moderate speeds than those bikes, but then it still has a little bit more chops than the Pivot Trail 429 or the Yeti SB 120. So it's a betweener bike that I was kind of like, not interested in. And now I'm realizing, wow, this bike's like right up my alley. It's like the perfect dad bike, which sounds so stupid to say, but it is. And it's not very heavy. It looks awesome. I just think it's such a good looking bike. And I think anyone who rides it is gonna feel right away what I felt, which was like, wow, this is really balanced. It climbed great. It feels kind of easy to maneuver out on the trail. I thought it was really cool. I hope you guys liked this video and that it was helpful for you. I picked this bike up from Salt Cycles in Sandy, Utah. They are a huge support of my channel. So a great way for you to support this channel if these videos are helpful for you is to purchase your bike from Chris at Salt Cycles. He has Transition Smugglers in stock right now, and a whole bunch of other bikes that you've seen on this channel. So give them a call. They also do custom building. I custom built this one with a couple different odds of parts and stuff. First time on these Pro Taper bars. They were actually really, I loved them all week. They've been awesome. Anyway, give those guys a call. Also stick around. I think I'm gonna host a live stream 2 days after this video is published. I usually publish on Tuesday mornings. So we'll hold a live stream on Thursday night the week that this is published, and I'll have information linked down below. Also, thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Nolly Eyewear. These are a bunch of college kids that started a killer company. Their glasses are awesome. They're 25% off right now using promo code YUMYUM at checkout, free shipping in the United States, and you're supporting a local Utah company with a bunch of cool kids, and the glasses are great. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Join me for the live stream in 2 days. Those are a lot of fun. It's a great way for us to catch up, talk about the bikes I've been riding, answer any questions or talk about comments that you guys have. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.